Alright guys, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to cover what to do when the bite gets ultra tough. But there's a little something that needs to be done before you can apply these tips. And that is know your lake. 100% important. When I got on this lake, I knew it so well that I knew the bite was tough right off the get-go. And you can kind of switch up your behavior right away when you realize that. Now, taking that a step further, if you know your lake, you generally know where the fish like to hide. And on good days, doesn't matter. You fish everything and you can fish it relatively fast. And you're going to pluck off the most aggressive fish and put together a decent day. But when the bite's super tough and you work the lake like normal, you're going to find that you get far less bites because there's far less fish that are aggressive. So at that point, what I do is I go to the areas, maybe once I put in some time, I go to the areas where I believe the fish are held up, where I've found in the past they normally are, and you know that from regularly fishing the lake and finding that's where you get the most bites. It's the higher probability areas. Now if you go to those areas, you don't just toss them there like normal. What I do is, and you can see me working this spot right here, I know there's fish under this tree. There always are. I mean, almost always. And whether I'm catching them or not, I know there's a couple on there. Now, I just missed that fish. Now I know for a fact he's under there. And so I keep working it. And it also helps to be a good caster, skipping it as deep as possible so you can slowly work the bait back. And I mean slowly. When it's like this, I just hop it. And if you watch closely, just barely hopping it. And I use a jig 90% of the time when I do this technique. You can do a Senko just the same, but just hopping it. Just barely moving it. And what I do is whether I realize it or not at the time, it's sort of like bed fishing. And if you've bed fished, you know when the fish is looking at it, you twitch it, and you hope that it picks it up. The advantage of bed fishing is you can see the fish doing it. You can see the fish looking at your bait, and you try to twitch it, entice it, get them to hit it. Essentially what I'm doing is the exact same thing, but the bed is just a high probability spot. And I twitch it and twitch it very slowly, and I imagine a fish looking at it. I literally am imagining a fish looking at it right now. The way I move the bait, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I know there's a fish looking at it, and I work it just the same. Very similar to bed fishing. But yeah, you can see me. And I almost never double cast into areas, especially when I'm fishing aggressively. I just kind of cast and move, cover water. But in these situations, it's rare for me, but I'll sit on a spot. You can see I'm sitting on a spot here for a bit, especially because I got a bite. I'll just keep hitting different angles, getting the bait as far back as I possibly can, and slowly working it out. You see, I'm going to go back in there, and I'm a good skipper. I can get it pretty damn deep. That's helpful. The deeper it is, the more time you can hop it along without taking it out of the strike zone. So I'm hopping it along, and I don't recall, I think I missed this fish a couple times. This time, oh, I did miss it again. So that fish is in there. He just hit it twice, but he's being finicky. completely reminds me of a bedfish. On certain days, this is the trick. So I go right back in there where I know I got a bite. And it's not my favorite way to fish. I'm a power fisherman. I like I actually power fish finesse techniques a lot of the time, but mostly finesse jigs. Finally got him to strike right there. There we go. That time he actually took it. I may have given him an extra second. Because a lot of times they just grab my jig by the trailer and just kind of nip at it. But sometimes you got to give them an extra second to actually take it. But I thought this was important. This was first week of April, and bite was tough. And I can see that other people on the water, whether it's my friends or other fishermen, they can't get bit. And I can in those situations.
Well,
so I wanted to share with everyone my little ways of getting bit when nobody else could. And this technique seems to work very well. And here's another spot I ended up doing it. It's hard to tell in these views, but once that worked, I just moved right over to another high probability area and worked it just the same. And once I get a little bit more dialed into this corner, I skip it deep in there. And then once I hit all the little spots, and I mean, I'm varying my cast by a foot or two. I pay attention to when I finally get bit. And then I try to redo that cast the best I can into the exact same spot. And I work it just the same, barely twitching it. I obviously had already figured out the pattern this day. And so I was just trying to reenact exactly what I did in another high probability spot. And I'm doing it again in this area. Unfortunately, I only have a couple spots on this lake because it's a small lake. See, I worked it right in there, just twitching it. And I know it looks like I'm moving it a lot, but I'm not. I'm just twitching it. I bet I'm moving it 2 inches every time I touch it. And at this point, I don't know there's a fish in there, but I'm just assuming, visualizing. That's the moment I knew a fish was in there. So I try to reenact the exact same cast. Casting is key, but I'm sure all of you know that. But I'm putting it right in the exact same spot. And it seems like if I'm off by even 4 inches, I don't get bit. And this is tedious stuff here.
Jesus Christ.
And that's what it takes sometimes to get bit. But I put it back right in the money spot. And once I know I'm in there, I work it even slower. Once I know, I just nailed the cast. It's hard to do it. And then that's when I'm just working it very slowly. Bam.
Again.
Missed him again. See? There's 2 times he went for it. It just totally reminds me of bedfish.
He's right under that log.
So I keep going in there and I try to get the angle just right. It's literally right underneath that log. And he's just tucked up in there. He's not willing to come out unless it's right in front of him, moving super slow. It's ridiculous. But it starts by knowing these lakes. Find a lake that works early. Fish it a lot. I know that's a little boring, but it gets more fun when you're actually catching consistently. So I got that, I nailed the cast again right there. And this one's funny, because I kind of find out why this fish is no longer biting. perfect cast. Right on that log. It's just, I know, I can visualize that fish is just sitting right under there. Doesn't want to come out. I'm force feeding it. I just put it right in front of his face gently, and I just twitch it, twitch it, twitch it. These fish are territorial. Sometimes I think they bite it just because it's annoying and it's too close to them in their little comfort zone. And that is also very similar to bed fishing in that way. So I'm just showing you the technique, and this is overall pretty boring stuff, but for those trying to get bit when others can't, this is some pretty key info. I'm sure a lot of you may have already know this, but I'm just trying to help. I'm learning, you're learning. You know some of the things I'm saying. Apologies.
Damn. Fuck. Blew it. Damn, that's crazy.
So, get this. I think I look down, I notice something's on the tip of my hook. And look at that. It's a freaking fish scale. So on one of those sets, somehow, I pricked him. Whether it's on the side, around his mouth, or on the... Something happened. See it right there on my finger? That's when I realized that was game over. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And last little clip is a little bonus video of a nice fish I caught that day. And that was my prize of the day. Tight lines, guys.
Keep him up, keep him up. Keep him up. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Fucking hit that shit. Right in the corner of the mouth. Exactly what you want. Right in the corner.